Hello BookTube, it's Eleanor here and today I am doing the Jennifer Lawrence book tag. I was tagged by Kit Kats Can Read and also by Hope Ortego, and I loved watching their videos, so I'm excited to do mine. So let's get into the tag. The first is Growing Up in Kentucky, your favourite book set in a rural area, and for this I'm going to go with The Arcana Chronicles by Kresley Cole, specifically the first one, Poison Princess. It is set in sort of a rural town, but it's set in an apocalyptic type world, so you know, once the apocalypse happened, everything's quite rural, isn't it? Discovery on the Streets, a little known book that you found and you loved, and for this I'm going for Longbourn by Jo Baker. This book is not a Pride and Prejudice retelling, it is a Pride and Prejudice story, so set in the world of Pride and Prejudice, but it is told from the downstairs. So it's told by the servants in the Bennet household, but what I loved about this, and I went to see Jo Baker do a talk, the author do a talk, and she discussed her love and passion for Pride and Prejudice and how she, when she was writing this book, she read it all the way through and she was making loads and loads of notes. So you'll see, if you are a lover of Pride and Prejudice, that during Longbourn there are instances where the part of the story that you're reading about ties in with what would have been happening in Pride and Prejudice. So, you know, the dances that they're going to and when Mr. Darcy is about, and I really enjoyed this story, and yeah, it was one that I hadn't heard much about, and I just so happened to come across it in a local independent bookshop, and they had a sign up saying that the author was doing a talk, and I was like, I'm going to go to that, and it was just you know, a wonderful, wonderful find. The next one is Swearing Off Media, and a book that you're never going to read, and my philosophy with books is never say never. I'll never say never to a book. You know, there might be an occasion where I want to read it, and often those books that you say, no, I'm never going to read that, turn out to be some of the best books. The next one is Beginnings on TV into Film, and that is a book series that gets better and better every book. Now, I'm not saying this is my favourite series, but I wasn't too impressed with the first book, and then I did think that they got really you know, much better as they went on, and that's the Shatter Me series by Tahereh Mafi. I really enjoyed the first one, but it was sort of a like, this is quite a good story, and there were bits of it that I didn't like, but I did enjoy where it went to, so I enjoyed it more and more as the series progressed. The Oscar Trip, a book, that series that hit a snag, and I have to say, although I love the series in general, A Song of Ice and Fire really hit a snag towards the later books, and I found that a couple of the books have been dragging. I've just got one more book left to read that's currently out, and I'm hoping that one's going to pick up the pace a little bit more, because the last few instalments have been a little bit disappointing and a bit slower paced. However, the story as a whole is epic and, you know, well worth a read. The next one is J. Law and Chris Martin, a book by a collaboration of authors, and other than the graphic novels I read, I haven't really got any books that I've read by collaborations, I don't think. So I'm going to abstain on this one. Working with David O. Russell, and this is a book with a dysfunctional character that you loved. And for this, I want to say Ghost Written by Isabel Wolf, and the main protagonist in this story, she is troubled and dysfunctional, but she is someone that you want to follow and you want to see work out her problems, and I really enjoyed this story. This woman in the book is a ghostwriter, and she's writing the story of a Dutch woman's life where she was in an internment camp in Java during the Japanese occupation, and the story is brilliant. I really enjoyed it, and I definitely recommend it's a good read. Next up is Mystique, a villain who thinks they're doing the right thing. For this one, I can't tell you why, but I will be picking The School for Good and Evil by Somen Chainani, and the main character in this believes she's good, but is she good? And I'm not saying any more, but this book is about fairy tales and princes and princesses and a school setting, and it's really, really good. Next up is Hunger Games, your favourite high profile series, and I think for me at the moment that's got to be Cinder and Scarlet and Cress, so the Lunar Chronicles. I'm really, really enjoying these. They're getting loads of hype and everyone loves them, but I'm joining that. I do really enjoy them. They're really good stories and a really good take on some well-known classic fairy tales. And finally, it's Everything She's Ever Said, your favourite snarky type character, and I think for this I'd have to go for either Tyrion from A Song of Ice and Fire. I think he's got a wit about him that makes him a bit snarky and I just can't help but love him. And if I was going to cheat and pick another one, I'd have to say I like AJ Thickery from The Storied Life of AJ Thickery by Gabrielle Zevin. He's got a bit of a dry wit and a snarkiness, I think, to him too, because he's a little bit damaged goods, and yeah, those probably my two for that. So anyway, that was my take on the Jennifer Lawrence tag. I hope you liked it, and I hope I haven't repeated what everyone else has done for books, because I really, really find tags difficult because I read a lot of mainstream books that a lot of people are also reading, so it's sometimes hard to be original, but this is my take on this tag anyway, and thank you for tagging me, Katie and Hope, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Okay, bye for now, BookTube.